If your teenage child has been diagnosed with persistent physical symptoms such as chronic pain or FND, and as a parent, I can only imagine that you would desperately want to help your child. And if you're also secretly blaming why you cannot help your child to fix the problem or not knowing what to do, hold that thought, because I want to tell you parents are the biggest solution for your child. As a pediatric psychologist and chronic pain survivor myself, my mission is to help teens and their parents to resolve chronic pain and FND so then they can reclaim their lives and health from the inside out. If you haven't already, please click the link below to get the free PDF parenting guide to help your teen at home. And it's completely free. So in today's video, I want to talk about why I continue to emphasize the importance of parents' involvement in teens' recovery from either chronic pain or FND, because parents are the solutions to recover teens' chronic pain and FND conditions. All right? And I want to tell you that I'm not making things up, and there are science-based studies backing up what I'm saying. In today's video, I want to talk about one of the studies illustrating why parents are important in child's recovery, okay? And then there are two other studies that I want to talk about in subsequent videos. So stay tuned. And let's get started. So I have to look at my notes, okay? And then, so before I talk about the study, I also want to talk about what is FND and what is chronic pain, because sometimes it's confusing. So let's start with chronic pain. What is chronic pain? Well, if your child has been suffering from some sort of pain, whether it's headaches or migraines or joint pain or stomach pain or everywhere, if the pain persisting for over 3 months or taking longer time to heal than the injury, and the pain is interfering with their ability to live their life, so like going to school or playing with friends or extracurricular activities and things like that. That also includes doing chores. Then if your child has these three conditions, then your child has joined a club of chronic pain that they didn't sign up for. It's that simple, okay? Why 3 months was pretty arbitrary, but that's how it's defined right now in the chronic pain world, so we're gonna stick with that, okay? So FND is short for functional neurological disorder, which is a huge umbrella term to basically describe this cross-wired problem between the brain and then the body, okay? And what that means is that on the surface, like MRI, CT scan, or blood work, or any other scans and spinal tap and all that kind of stuff, your child's body looks quote unquote fine, but your child might be experiencing a series of symptoms. So FND has so many different categories, and then the most common one is something called psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, PNES, or non-epileptic seizures, NES. And it's basically neurological conditions where your child might experience weakness, numbness, tingling, and seizures, and dizziness, and stuff like that. And then there's a movement condition subcategory, such as twitches, tics, and paralysis. Functional tics are very different, looking similar, but different from traditional tic disorder. So if you're ever wondering, there's a video that I made talking about the difference between the two. And then there's the somatic conditions that includes headaches, migraines, and complex regional pain syndrome. And then there's a sensory condition, which is part of the FND conditions, which includes vision loss and hearing changes, okay? And both chronic pain and FND are very common amongst adolescents. And in fact, FND is the second most common diagnosis that your child would get in a neurology clinic, next to headaches and migraines, okay? And both chronic pain and FND are biopsychosocial problems, and it's not just biological or it's not just psychological, like it's in your head. Well, brain is in your head, but it's much more than simple one thing, okay? Both conditions do have biological, psychological, and social components. So that being said, let me talk about this one study that came out about 10 years ago, and this is by Wilson and colleagues from Oregon and Washington. So what they did, they actually asked nearly 200 children between the ages of 11 and 14 and their parents about these bunch of questions related to pain. So kids were asked where their pains located, and then the characteristics such as frequency, intensity, and disability, and something called catastrophizing. So it's more like a psychological response to their chronic pain experiences, such as ruminating, like overthinking, and feeling helpless. Okay. And then they also asked the parents about whether they have their own pain and catastrophizing, aka the psychological responses to their child's pain experience. Okay. So when these researchers asked these questions to both parties, here's what they came up. Many parents, not surprisingly, also experience chronic pain themselves, such as back pain, headaches, and joint pain. And then parents' pain presence was also related to higher catastrophizing, which then related to their adolescents having higher level of catastrophizing experiences, such as rumination and helpless and things like that. And particularly when parents have a back pain experience, then actually their children had higher pain frequency, intensity, and more somatic symptoms reported. So they go hand in hand. When parents had headaches, then teens also had a higher pain frequency. And then regardless of the pain location, as long as the parents did have a pain, then that related to adolescents having more disability scores. And then not surprisingly, parents' catastrophizing score, when that score was higher, that also meant adolescents' pain catastrophizing score went up. So what does that mean? It really means, number one, it's very important to ask when kids are having chronic pain issues, to ask their parents if they have their own experience with pain and how the parents are responding to the child's pain experiences, aka catastrophizing. Because these things are very related to how children are going to experience their pain and catastrophizing, and then how much disability they would be experiencing. Okay? And so this is not to say it's their parents' fault. It's quite the opposite. The parents' awareness is going to change significantly about the child's recovery courses. So I really want to emphasize and encourage and empower the parents. If you feel guilty, ashamed, and helpless and hopeless and frustrated because they cannot help their kids recover from the chronic pain or FND for that matter, then I really want to say, don't give up, because you are the solution for your child's recovery. And starting with you having the awareness about your own pain experience and then how you're psychologically and emotionally responding to your child's pain and FND experiences. And then I cannot emphasize that your own self-care is the number one important thing. Because not only that you get to self-care, you can also show the importance of demonstrating and showing this is how it's done to your child. Okay? I hope that this was helpful. And then I've got 2 more studies coming up, so stay tuned. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.